Of all the industries, of all the jobs, of all the areas, obviously law enforcement is the one that is by and far the most contentious. And I say that from as a former lawyer even.
Right.
And so how do you lead people that every day, I mean, it's just problem after problem. They're dealing with people that may not like them. They're dealing in these high stress situations. What do you do? How do you keep them engaged and motivated?
I think it's really about keeping their perspective straight, right? So a constant message for me is how proud I am of them and the organization. And I do say that with a high degree of regularity, and it's true. I'm extraordinarily proud of the officers who work here. I also try to remind them that our citizens, our community supports us, as evidenced by the cookies and the baked goods and the cards and the thank yous that come in, they flow in. And especially when the media is harsh on us, our community seems to rally behind us. And so I remind my folks, these are the folks you're serving. Worry about them because they support you. And honestly, this is going to sound maybe a little hokey, but I increasingly remind them about this is an honorable job. This is an honorable profession. You are honorable people. It takes a special kind of person to even do this job. And, when you raised your hand and took that oath and said, I swear I will, you guys take it seriously. No other job requires that. And you put your oath before yourself, and that matters because we're here to serve. And so I just have to remind them of those things and just change the perspective of, try to keep the noise out. Try to filter out that noise as best you can. It's hard. It's hard. I've lost a lot of officers that just said, Chief, I just can't do this anymore. I'm just done. And in fact, I just lost a senior officer just a few months ago, packed up his family and moved out of state and living on a small little farm somewhere. So and he loved the job. He loved it. I can't do this anymore. And then in those situations, I do the same thing. How can I help you achieve what you're trying to accomplish now? What can I do to help you get there? I don't try to talk them into stand. Those are decisions they make. But yeah, it's just that constant reminder. And, I can do so much better. I forget, I lose track, forget to message that. But our council supports us, the boss supports us, and I remind them of that all the time. I mean, we have council just approved a $30 million building project for us. For a city our size, that's a big deal.
That is a big deal. So
We contract with an organization for emotional support for the officers. And they're a 24/7, 365 response organization, and they're all former first responders, and they're all psychologists and psychiatrists, and have different treatment skills and different methodologies for treating. And if an officer's in crisis and they pick up the phone, this group will respond to the officer in crisis. So officers are encouraged to utilize that. We're evolving out of my realm, my old mantra of you hold it all inside, right? And I still do that. But I encourage my officers not to, and open up and talk. And that's really been really profound. It's been profound in the agency.
have you noticed a shift?
Yes, absolutely. We've we've lost 3 officers in the last few years to PTSD, job-related PTSD, where they could no longer function as police officers. So that's what kind of cued me in on. We need to do more for our cops, and I think that's a big deal for the officers because they know I'm willing to put out the expense to give them this stuff, right? I think that's important for them and their families. I mean, anybody in their families can call for this stuff too. So I think part of it is understanding their needs and what's going to keep them motivated because they all have bad days. I mean, they come in and they got to put up with another day of, I've already worked 20 hours of overtime this week and now I got to come in again and short staffed and all of those things. It's trying to be sincere, and message that what we do is important. And I got to remind them of that, that we, what we do is important.